how to be a man. So I had to learn on my own, and this is why I think a lot of relationships and the dating game is so hard once people get past the honeymoon phase is a lot of us are not being taught about relationships. There's no a lot of us, unfortunately, the father may not be in a home and he's not teaching us how to treat women and how to be a man. And then the mother, because I think there's a lot of babies having babies, and our matriarch, all our older generation, they're gone. And they're not a lot of our young ladies are not being taught how to be wives and how to pick the right men and things like that. So I feel like because of that, I had to learn on my own. I mean, I've always been a good guy, but as far as being in a relationship or being married, there was some things I had to learn on the fly, right? I treated her nice, but there were husbandly duties and things on the fly that I had to learn on my own because I wasn't taught that. And that's where I think a lot of us are having our troubles at because we're not taught. Because I remember you saying, I think you asked me, what are you missing in some of these men? Remember that question you asked me? And I said, a lot of these men have not been taught how to be men. They're broken
Yeah.
and they
But
haven't found themselves. They're not happy with themselves. So if you're not happy with yourself, how you gonna make somebody else happy?
but I had a good friend tell me, he's like, women are the champions. They will pat themselves on the back. They'll fall down, they'll dust themselves off and get up and go. And after being heartbroken, they'll heal themselves. They'll seek healing. He said, men, we don't do that. We're just gonna be hurt and angry, and we're gonna, basically be for the streets. And he recently called me. This is a couple years ago. He recently called me and asked me for my advice about this young woman that he is seeing, and
Mhm.
they're getting more serious. He wanted to know my opinion about them moving in, and I'm like, do it. I said, but you need to go to therapy first. Like, I'm
Mm.
a big proponent of therapy,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
actually don't think that I can. That's actually on my checklist. If you have not been or do not believe in or have done some level of self work and healing, I don't want to date you because I've done too much on this vessel that is me to put up with your toxicness. So maybe
right.
that eliminates a whole lot of people for me. But let's circle back to the question. So I grew up with both of my parents always around. Um, my father, because he is still alive and because there's a level of decorum and respect that I still have for him, he didn't show up as a father that showed up. He
Mhm.
didn't show up like that for us. And mostly because my grandmother had him when he was 13. And although she married his father, they were children,
Yeah,
raising children. So there
ex
wasn't a lot.
exactly.
And they were literally children raising
Yeah,
children. So I know that there's a lot that he did not get, and that transmuted into how he treated his children.
yeah,
He did the best that he can. And at this age, he's 76 years old. I just say I just meet him where he is. And that's all I have on that. Did he teach me? Um, he taught me a lot of what not to do.
mhm,
My mother, on the other hand, my mother passed away, has since passed away. My mother showed what unconditional love looked like,
mhm,
but it also showed me a level of tolerance for things that she didn't deserve. And it took a lot for me to recognize that my family is huge and our women are submissive, and
mhm.
I don't say that as in they're just like doormats, because we come from strong, mouthy women,
Yeah,
but we also choose very strong men. And what I've learned collectively was from my family was what I wanted, versus it might not necessarily be the dynamic in my household, but I watched my aunts and my uncles and how they navigated their marriages and arguments and intimacy and
mhm.
all of those things. I watched them. So it took me until probably my 40s to figure out that I was giving all this love and good energy that I have to the wrong people.
Yeah. So and again, I remember you mentioning that, and we're gonna segue into something else, and then we're gonna cut it. Um, And I just wanted to disagree with something real quick when you said the gentleman said that men hold stuff in. Um, a lot of time men, I think men hold things in because a lot of time men don't have anyone to release to. Um, I feel that way a lot. You know, I know people, but I found that a lot of struggles in my life, I've had to deal with them on my own.
Hmm.
You know, as far as having someone, people always say, "Oh, just man up and suck it up and do."
That's
No, we
okay.
got
That's not
emotions
okay.
too.
Absolutely.
We have emotions too. You have to release. You have to be able to talk to someone and let it go. And I think that's what it is. I think men, they're not necessarily holding it in. They just don't have that individual or that person to release to,
Or they don't
because
know how because they're being called a simp when they do.
right,
So
right. And
they're
see,
being called
that
a simp
goes
when they do.
right. And there's women calling them soft or
Mm,
sassy,
mm,
but then you'll hear women say, I want a man who is uh who who knows his feelings, right? Who can share his feelings. And but when he does that and you call him a sissy, or you use it against him when you're in an argument, something like that, men will shut down. We will shut down. It's like, I ain't telling her nothing else.
correct. But we do the same. So all humans have the innate need to be seen, heard, and understood. And
Yes,
and if you don't have a safe space to release that, that's why you need to go to therapy. That's why you need to read some books. Like you can't
exactly.
just be out there by yourself. In my yoga class on Wednesdays when we have meditation, while we are just trying to have our sound healing and our meditation, anytime there is a man there, we always end up there at least 45 minutes over because they just feel the need to just pour out everything that they've been
Release.
holding in. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
is nobody listening to y'all? Like,
yeah.
can we? I'm
They
hungry,
not.
and
They not. We
once
hold
I
in
get
so
hungry,
much.
I'm not listening to you anymore. I want you to be quiet. But I
Yeah,
realize it is because they don't have those safe spaces. So, brothers,
exactly.
show up for each other.
Exactly. So it's difficult. And I think a lot of that goes into relationships. Our subject is relationships. And I think a lot of people need to sit down and understand each other and ask those questions. Like for myself, I've taken the time every, I don't want to say traumatic, but I would say every big um, change in my life, I've always taken a step back and I reevaluated myself. Do I need to make any changes? And that's another thing with relationships. A lot of people get in relationships and they break up with somebody, and 2 months later they're in another one
So
and haven't healed themselves.
I don't feel like every relationship requires time and away and healing. Um, I just don't think that it does.
Mhm.
I think that we put so much emphasis on that, but
If
unless
you in
we're taking
love and you in love with somebody and you've been with somebody, let's say at least 3 years, you don't think you should take a moment and
yes,
just,
yes, but I've been told that I needed to take a moment after dating somebody for 6 months and it was a breakup.
oh no, 6 months is that ain't enough time. No, I
Right.
agree with you
Even
there.
even 9 months. Like I don't feel
Mhm.
like that. Like there's nothing that traumatic happened. The relationship just didn't work. So I don't think that I need to take a break. So yes, I was in a 9-year relationship. I've been single since then. Like while
Mhm.
I have dated people, I've been single for like 3.5 years. Now I'm ready
Mhm.
to settle down. So I'm being more intentional about the dating. But I've been so disheartened by the when I was just dating to be dating and not necessarily with intention of something long term.
Right.
I've been so jaded by that I have no enthusiasm for actually dating right now.
I don't either. So you already know it's been
Yeah,
11 years for me.
yeah, yeah.
11 years. And when I tell my friends that, they think I'm
Well,
lying.
when I say
I'm
three
not.
and a half years and you say 11 years, we ain't talking about the same. We're not talking about the same. But
Yeah.
yes, I get it. But no, I've lost tolerance for a lot.
Yeah, me too. Me
And
too.
I think that's the danger of staying single this long is it gets real comfortable in this peace.
Well, I'm comfortable, but I'm not happy. I prefer to be in a relationship. I would actually love to be married again. I loved it. I love the concept of it. Um, I'm gonna share one last experience, and I told you about this experience with the young lady I met here in Detroit. Told her my whole situation, where I was in my life at this point, gave her the option to either deal with me or not. Told her everything. She was willing to deal with me. And you hear all the time how women say they want a man that's going to be a man that can lead, that's going to make decisions. They don't want those guys that text you talking about what you're doing. No, they want somebody that's going to text you and say, "Hey, baby, I got plans. Let's do this." That's me, right? So I try to set something up with her because she wanted to come see me right away. This was our Facebook dating. She wanted to come see me. She
Oh,
wanted to do a quick meet and greet because her daughter lives on this side of town. I live on the east. She lives on the west side of Detroit. She said, "Oh, I'm going over here to see my daughter." I said, "Okay." I said, "Nah." I said, "Nah, it's not a good time because I wasn't feeling well." But we talked on the phone a few days. I was like, everything was cool. So she told me, "Look, let's meet halfway." She don't like driving. I'm like, "Okay, we can meet halfway somewhere." I don't have a car. Told her I didn't have a car. Got rid of my car during the pandemic. Never needed one. I was around everything, had everything delivered to me. If I wanted to go somewhere, I could afford to give me an Uber and go wherever I wanted to go. She could, when I started picking restaurants that were easy for us to both get to, she did not want to go to any of these restaurants, either because she's been before or she thought they were too far. So I'm like, okay, the restaurants you've been to before, are you going? Did you like the restaurant? Yes, she liked the restaurant. Are you going to meet me, or is it because you've been there before? I thought we coming to meet each other. No, I'm like, okay, I'm frustrated already now. So I'm like, look, I was going to treat myself to Ruth Chris. I said, why don't we go to Ruth Chris? So Ruth Chris is 35 minutes from her, about 30 minutes for me. She's like, I don't want to drive out there. I'm not driving. And it was the way she was saying. She said, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So the very next day after that conversation, she calls me and said her daughter-in-law or her cousin or somebody is having a birthday party at Ruth Chris. Do I want to go? I said, wait a minute. I thought you didn't want to drive out to Ruth Chris. She said, I won't be driving. Somebody be driving out there. I said, we ain't even met yet physically. I want to meet you and get to know you. I'm not trying to meet your family. Her mother was going to be there. Her grandmother was going to be there. Her uncles and some cousins. I said, I'm trying to get to know you. Oh, no, you should come. I said, I'm not coming to that. And she got mad because I said, I'm not. I said, no, 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 no. I'm either coming to see you so you and I can get to talk. I said, I can meet your family down the road. So eventually she kept saying, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. Every time I just ghosted her. I ghosted her because just like you said, I know what I'm not going to deal with anymore. I'm done. I'm finished with that. So I just wanted to share that. We're going on 43 minutes here, but I wanted to go back to something you said so we can kind of wrap it up. You mentioned submissiveness. This is another big issue with dating because men generally are somewhat traditional. Most men are they're we're natural to me, we're natural providers. If we have a family, we're gonna take care of our family. We got a wife, we're gonna take care of, we're gonna work, we're gonna do what we gotta do. I'm not talking about
protect and
these
provide.
knuckleheads out here.
Protect and provide.
Protect and provide. I've noticed a lot of days women think submissive means that a man wants to control. We don't want to control.
Oh
I don't
no.
think they understand the meaning of submissiveness. So I want you to give your definition of that from a woman, from the woman's side. We listening. Let's go.
So let's circle back, baby. That's not say that just women feel that way. Men think that way too, right? Why
Some
are
men.
you cutting my hair?
I'm talking, but I'm some men. I'm talking. That's why I divided it. I said the
Yeah,
men
because
out
listen,
here who are generally traditional know what submissiveness is. Yeah, you got some controlling, misogynistic men. I'm not talking about them.
I'm gonna let it go because most men is saying that the majority, actually, in my experience, most men are the ones who don't know what that means to be a protector, provider,
Yeah.
a leader.
Mhm.
And women feel that way. Women feel like being submissive is being controlled because the majority of men have the wrong idea of what it is. So submission, real submission is about respect.
Yes.
Real submission is about caring and nurturing. A protector and a provider, the people that they are protecting and providing, they're always looking to ensure that their best interests are being met.
So would you say it's understanding each other's roles?
It's it's not even roles. It's understanding what that dynamic looks like, what it means. So you can identify what your roles are in that space, but if you don't have a general understanding of what to be a leader or to be submissive means, then it's never going to work because
Mm.
what submission is not controlling. What submission is only thinking about what submission is not being told what to do. So my family, we are naturally submissive women. Like I said, that's based, whether it's religion, whatever, we are naturally soft hearted, kind, soft. We expect our men to step up and be the protector, the provider, and the leader of our family. But we also expect for our men to consider what's best for us,
Right.
what's best for the children, what's best for us, our family. And if you don't consider those things, and not just your own unilateral what makes sense for you, then you are not a leader.
Exactly. So
And
to
then
me,
you are not entitled to submission.
most people identify that to me as roles, right? You have the wife role, you have the man role, because women look for men to be leaders, they look for men to be that provider. That's part of his traditional role. And the wife, as far as being that nurturer, that person who cares, that person who takes care of the household, all those things. So
So
my
you're talking
thing
about
is,
traditional gender roles.
yes,
It's not even about this is what a wife does, this is what a husband, but these are just our traditional gender roles.
yes,
So
that's
we,
not okay.
yes,
That's what I mean.
if we're talking about traditional gender roles, then yes, that is the expectation. The man will be the protector, the provider, the leader of the family. The woman will be the nurturer, the teacher, the ruling of the household. So
Right.
yes, in a traditional sense, that's exactly what it means. But we don't even have the definition down to even operate safely in those roles.
And see, that's why I wanted you to explain that, because I hear so many women go straight to the controlling thing. No, and that goes back to what you said. A lot of men don't understand what it is, and then a lot of women don't understand what it is. So in my last marriage, that's how it was. That's how it was. She just instantly became, as all those years that she was single, she instantly became that submissive wife. Did I
Most of
control
us,
her? Did I control her? No.
when you're
Was
love
that
right, you are submissive. It doesn't even really
exactly?
need to. It
And
doesn't even
thank
need
you
to
for
be a drama.
saying say that again. Hold on, say that again. When you love right, what?
When you are loved right, you are naturally submissive. You
Thank you.
naturally fall into that role.
But see, a lot of women will say, and you and I have talked about this, and I'll probably end up splitting this into two parts because it's going on 50 minutes now. Um,
Well, that's what we talked about.
we've talked about this before, and all this has to do with relationship, folks. We love to hear your comments and things on what we're talking about in the comments below. But we've talked about, because I know I posted something on Facebook. He was like, "I'm so sick of this conversation."
The masculine energy
So the
conversation.
masculine and the things like that, right? So when women say, um, I understood what you were saying. You were saying women are in their masculine because they have to be, right? Because maybe they're on
Protective
their own and
measure.
things.
It's a protective measure.
It's a protective measure. But to me, being feminine never goes away. And I'll tell you why I say that. Being feminine, soft, and submissive that never goes away. And the reason why it never goes away because you can be defensive and still be feminine. You don't have to act
Actually,
like a man. You don't have to act like a man to do that. They just feel like act like you got to get loud. You got to snap your hands and roll your neck, and you got to do all that.
see,
I've
but those
I've
are
met
feminine
I've met
gestures.
some women.
You wouldn't respect a man that snapped his fingers and rolled his neck at
No,
you.
I'm not talking about a
Again,
man. I'm talking about I'm talking about a female.
right, but if a woman is doing it, it's not masculine because a man would never be received well doing those things. He'd never be taken seriously. So the snapping of the fingers, the rolling of the neck, those are intrinsically female things.
But it gets masculine to a point when they start acting like a man. My ex, my ex,
Again, we still ain't gonna agree on that one, but okay, go
my
ahead.
well, let me tell you why. Because I'm speaking from experience. My ex never did that. Yet she knew how to say something to me that will cut. And I'm the same way. But she knew how to. She never came out of her feminine. She always had that feminine, that soft, that appeal about her. She never got loud. She never overtalked, but she knew what to say and never came out of that feminine ever. She never snapped. It's like yesterday. I was talking to someone online, and I just cracked a little joke about them eating. Right. Every time I see this person, they out eating, they out doing that. They out, and I was just joking. Right. And normally when people snap at me like that, that just tells me they really don't know me. Because if you supposed to be my friend and you really know me, you know what type of person I am, and you know I'm just playing with you. We supposed to be friends, right? So I said, what did I say? I said, so and so is always out eating and drinking, and I said I ain't mad at you. I don't think she saw the I ain't mad at you part. So her response back to me was, and what's the problem with that, 6ix9ine? Just instant from 0 to 100.
Did you ever feel like your comment was unnecessary?
I was joking.
It doesn't matter.
And I've joked with her before.
It doesn't matter.
But even if it is unnecessary, from 0 to 100,
So
she know I was joking.
I have a situation similar. A friend called me and he said, "How you doing?" And I was like, "I have COVID." Again? First of all, I
Wait,
haven't
y'all talking? Or is this
like
text
on
messages?
the phone.
Okay.
He called me because he saw that I commented on a mutual friend's post, but we didn't know that we were mutual friends. Like we
Mhm.
hadn't made the connection or whatever. So he was calling me to let me know that he knew somebody that I know. But when he asked how I was doing, I was like, "Oh, I have COVID." And he's like, "Again?" And I'm like, "What do you mean again? I had COVID in 2021. It's 2024. And even if I did, why did you have to say it like that?" Well, I didn't mean it like that. But again, I took offense to it.
Right.
People are entitled to take offense to
So
whatever.
it was the way he said it, right?
It was the way that he said it, or even the
Mhm.
fact that he said it. Like there are people that have had COVID 5 times. And
Me,
I've
I'm one of
literally
them.
correct.
I'm one of them.
So if I were to say to you, "Dang, you got COVID again," then that might make sense. But I literally have only had COVID twice.
Mhm.
And right now it's just running around rampant in Maryland. So
Mm.
I was at work, minding my business. I don't even go out. I go to 3 places: meditation, yoga, and Pilates. And work.
Yeah.
So me getting it, it's not like I was out in these streets doing whatever. But yes, I took offense to it. And I did get snappy. And I was entitled because his comment was unnecessary.
And it
And
was the way I think what got you more was the way he said it. Now, me and this other individual, we were typing. It wasn't
yeah,
talking. But what I found interesting was right after I typed what I said, I ain't mad at you. So it was like she only saw the first part. She didn't see the I ain't mad at you part and just went straight in. So it's people like that. And like you said, we're both at this age now where we just know what we gonna do. You ain't gotta worry about me speaking to your ass no more.
ever.
Ever.
Like me and this dude, we've been friends for like 8, 9 years. And we actually met through Facebook through a mutual friend that
Mm,
we had. We met through the chat. And I said, you know what? The conversation was going on and on and on. And I just realized that after him starting the conversation out like that, there was nothing that was good that was going to come from it. So he said something else. And I just finally snapped on him. And I said, you know what? This conversation is over. I said, I don't appreciate the way that the conversation started, and it's not
right,
going to go anywhere. So I'm done. Have a good day. Thanks for calling.
right. Now, see, I understand that, but I don't know how you actually said it to him,
Like
but
that.
see, to me, that's not masculine. If you
But
said it like that, that's not masculine.
see, but here's the thing. You're picking up masculinity off of typing. You cannot identify that.
No, I'm looking at her face too. I can see her face. I can see her facial expressions.
So how can you see her facial
It's on
expression?
video. It's a video chat, so I can
Gotcha.
see it.
Gotcha.
So now
So it
I'm
could have
not
been
looking. I'm not going off just typing
so why are you typing if it's a video chat?
because there's music playing.
Gotcha.
It's a different
So
type of video chat.
so and here's the other thing. Social media is social media. People only post what they want to post. So I'm just saying, I might be a little offended by that too, but she also needs to take a step back and say, hey, then why do I always only post? If I don't want people to think that this is what I'm always doing, like take some accountability for it. Then maybe I don't need to always post these particular type of videos.
Yeah, but I think some people need to heal themselves because uh
Not some, most.
they always got if you always got a smart attitude or always got something negative to say, things like that,
Right.
they're unhappy.
Go somewhere and heal.
They're unhappy.
Go somewhere and heal.
Right, go somewhere and heal. So we're gonna do the last 3 minutes here. Um, I just want to. I had a question I want to ask, and now I can just kind of skip my brain. All right,
Of a
so
certain age. Of a
give
certain
give get huh?
of a certain age. Of a certain age.
That's that all time is setting in. Um, give me your final opinion on some of the things that we can do to better improve the dating scenario.
We need to talk to each other. We need to stop having these conversations in our girl circles or in our man groups, and we need to have these conversations with each other. So much of this is misunderstanding and that lack of conversation, no
Mhm,
effective communication, um, and remembering each other's value. Like
mhm.
something that's big for me is that we bring balance to each other, like yin and yang.
Yeah,
When we
yeah,
stop talking, then we are constantly in conflict. So we just need to talk. We need to ask the difficult questions, have the
right.
difficult conversations, because we're also not willing to do that. And the other thing, we need to admit that we want to be loved. We want to admit that we
Yeah.
want these relationships.
And so my final thing is I agree with you on all of that. We all want to be loved, and you have people out here talking about I'm happy being single. No, you're not happy being single. You're okay with being single. God did not put us on this earth to be by ourselves. So when people say that, I just laugh. You're settled with being single probably because you've been single for so long. Like I've been single for 11 years.
And it's not a flex to say, I've been single for 25 years. That's not a
It's
flex.
not a flex. It's not a flex at all. But I would prefer to have someone special in my life that I can do things with. And like you said, we like yin and yang. We get along. We can talk. We can communicate. So I believe that's the big thing too. You have to ask those questions. Um, don't get caught up in the honeymoon phase of it, and ask those difficult questions. Find out what their family structure was like. Find out if they're still dealing with something emotional or they still got some type of emotional baggage. Because if they are not healed, that is going to carry on into your relationship with them. So you have to be completely healed. Um,
So I'm
so
going to
as we
add
get
this.
older
Healing
in
isn't
this
linear.
relationship game, as we get older in this relationship game, like you said, you and I, we both know what we don't want to deal with, and we're not going to deal with it anymore. So we got 6 seconds here. gonna wrap this up because you and I can talk forever. I know we talk.
And could,
We was on the phone talking for 2.5 hours. So.
and could, and could, because there's just so much that goes along with it. There's so many pieces, and we don't agree on everything.
No, we don't. Right.
Yeah, because I'm not a proponent of spewing Kevin Samuels. Like, I'm just not. But I do believe, like, the one thing that he said was, is date on your level.
Mm-hmm.
And
But you and
that's
I did talk about we gonna review some of Kevin Samuels' videos, and we talked about how you're gonna go tell me how you feel, and I was gonna break down what he was trying to say because he was very straight, he was very direct, and I don't think a lot of times he explained what he was trying to say a lot. He was just really straight to the point, and so that'll be our next video coming up. I hope everyone stays tuned for that. Please like, subscribe, all right, and join. This is our first video, so I don't know how many people are gonna see this. We'll see. I'm gonna split this up in two parts, two 30-minute parts, and we'll go from there. So our next topic is gonna be breaking down Kevin Samuels because she don't like a lot of what Kevin Samuels had to say.
99%.
So we're gonna break that down. And believe you me, there was some things I didn't agree with that he would say too. But there was a lot of other things where I felt like he was being misunderstood because he was just so straight to the point. So rest in peace, Kevin Samuels. And I didn't like the fact that a lot of women like that he died. That's bad karma. So y'all be careful with that. So until next time, Nisi, I
6'9".
appreciate you. We're gonna break down Mr. Samuels. Y'all be easy, YouTube. We out.